everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Welcome to the campfire, folks.
And I'm Sam Healy. Welcome.
Today, our top 10 is a list that we've been asked to do many times.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
People have asked this?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, our expertise in camping.
I know, right?
Would
Because we are
to know.
well-versed. Well-versed in camping things.
I
agree.
I've gone camping many times, but
You
always.
are not.
You've gone glamping.
No,
sir.
I wish I
You
could go
are-
glamping. But it was never by, choice.
You were made.
I
Yeah.
was sucked into
It
like a
sounds
camp.
like-
When is the last time you went camping?
Oh, in Korea. But I went to this camp thing every year, and we went down there. It was definitely stay in a tent, don't get bugs in you,
In you?
In you.
Oh, dude, I'm out with this whole camping business.
Not the right word choice.
Okay, so let me ask you this:
You
Did you
ever
actually
open
go
your mouth?
camping, or did you just get locked out? It kind of sounds like you just got locked out.
Yeah.
I hate camping. I hate it.
But you love gaming.
I do. So if I'm gonna camp, I'm gonna take some games with me,
There we go.
and I have when I've gone camping in the past. This wasn't a hard list to put together. There was lots of good games. I was trying to not do all party games, I guess.
What were you
A lot of party
trying to
games.
go for when you think camping?
Like actual games I would take with me.
I
Like,
know, but
Wind is an element, right?
Yes.
So I don't want to have
Good.
stuff all over the table and blow off.
that's correct. That's definitely a big one. What else you guys got for that? So wind, yeah, big time.
I thought about rain, but there's so few games that are waterproof.
No, rain's
There's
problematic.
a
It
few
work-
plastic card games,
Yeah, but that would be a really narrow list at that point.
and if you're playing in the rain,
I got
you
some
should
games.
consider what you're
I
doing.
have some games that you can probably just play anywhere in the rain. I mean, but it's gonna be one or two games. That's it. So if you really are going hardcore camping,
I think you and I will cross over at least once, maybe twice.
I'm
And
thinking
Sam and I will
3
cross.
times.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I'm feeling it.
I also tried to go with games that have few components.
Yes, absolutely.
It would have been a whole lot easier if I could have done this list in about 2 seconds of games not to go camping.
That would be quite
Rising
simple.
Sun.
I'd take
Gloomhaven.
Blood Rage, Gloomhaven.
Though if your tent blows
Takes up
away,
half of your trunk.
if your tent blows away, you can always sleep in the box from Gloomhaven. You'll be safe.
No, if you have Gloomhaven, that's like
The
better
tent's not
than
gonna
10
blow away.
spikes.
That's true.
It's better than 10 spikes.
Yes, just put that on the
Four
corner.
4 Gloomhavens.
4 Gloomhaven copies. Yeah,
It's a very
fantastic.
expensive tent. All right, well, yeah, I don't know what else we're going to say. We're going to take Heat probably out of the list.
Very much so.
We'll find out. Here we go.
Number 10.
All right, my number 10 is a game I think can be played anywhere, even if you probably hate this game.
I probably do.
You probably do. Well, you hate it being played near you, and that is Happy Salmon.
It is too loud of a game, yeah.
But I think
That's a
for a
good
camp
pick.
setting, it works really well. You can all
Unless the
sit
other
around
campers
there.
are trying to sleep.
Yeah, if
then they're
you
going to
wanna-
murder you that night.
If you want to draw all the other predators in the woods to where you are, yeah, good idea.
Just don't put around a fire. You're like, oh, we got a match. Throw your cards in the middle. Oh, no!
That's
And Happy
hilarious.
Salmon.
All the predators, every critter from the forest showing up like, what are these humans doing?
I hear fish.
Happy salmon?
No, but Happy Salmon also comes in 2 sets with different colors, so you could play with 12 players.
I wish they were scented like salmon to attract
my
the
God.
bears.
Salmon scented
Oh,
cards?
bears.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Ah.
No, yeah, that's good.
All right, we can play Dude instead in the forest. Dude. Yeah, no. So Happy Salmon, my
That's
number
a good
10.
pick. That's a good pick.
Okay, that's good. My number 10 is a game that actually replaced Apples to Apples for me. If you like Apples to Apples, you should forget Apples to Apples and play this one because it's the same game, but better. And it uses more ingenuity. And that's Say Anything. And this is a game that I have enjoyed a lot. It's kind of worn off a little bit, but it's still, for this setting, it's good because you've got the dry erase boards. There are fewer cards around than a game of Apples to Apples, so you don't have to worry so much about all the cards being blown around. If it is windy, one person can hold,
It's one deck, right? Not everyone
yeah,
has
it's one deck.
cards.
Not everybody has cards.
You got
You don't have a hand of
boards.
cards. You just
Yeah.
have a board with a dry erase pen.
Right.
And it's a lot more easier to play, and you get really the same basic feel as an apples to apples type game. So that's why I picked this. Better components, fewer components, and gets the same feel as apples to
A
apples.
really nice 10th anniversary edition's coming out. I shouldn't say really nice, but a new one. And I believe everything in it's different. So,
Salmon scented.
hey, that's right. We picked games from the same company
You
here.
did, fellas.
Is your
and
next-
if they
is your
make them
number
in the
10?
same factory, a little bit of that salmon smell's gonna move over to
You
say
really need to
anything.
get off the
True.
salmon. Do you know what the salmon
hungry.
smells like?
I'm hungry. I'm sorry.
Probably don't.
I know what salmon smells like. Of
What
course.
does it smell like?
Like fish. Like
No, but salmon doesn't smell as fishy as other
No,
fish.
that's why people like it more, because it's not as fishy as other fish.
I know, but it still smells like fish.
Are you talking about
especially
fresh
if
salmon
you
or
are
cooked salmon?
a bear. Here I go. My number 10 is a cooperative game called Hanabi, but I'm specifically talking here about Hanabi with the Big Light tiles, which was one of the versions they made. Originally, it was just a deck of cards. Then they made one that feels like a domino set, kind of, or mahjong set, I should say.
I thought you said big light tiles. I was like,
They're big and they don't weigh much.
bake light. I know.
Big Light, yeah.
Yeah.
And so this one is absolutely a game you can play in the rain. It doesn't matter. It's everything's
Again, I really
plastic.
think that's a bad idea.
You should try it. I mean, it's.
You should literally play it in a puddle.
You could play it in a puddle. You could play it in the pool, technically, somehow.
You could play it
That's
with
a top
the
10 we're
spool.
doing later.
You
Games to
can
play
play
in
it
the pool.
on a stool. Am I on the right track
Or
here?
in the stool.
Ew.
Move on.
Okay, so Hanabi with tiles. It's a fun, cooperative sort of communication game. I like it. If you're looking for a sort of quieter night at the camping site, Hanabi might be a good one for you. That's my number 10.
Cool.
Number 9.
My number 9 is a game that actually just had another game come out in its line called Forbidden Sky, but this one is Forbidden Island. I haven't played Forbidden Sky yet, and I'm pretty sure that Forbidden Desert has more components than Forbidden Island does.
Yes.
Which is why I chose Forbidden Island. It has fewer components, less of a chance for those things to be blown away or that type of thing, but it's a really cool cooperative game where you're trying to get all of these different components, rebuild the engine to the helicopter or something to that effect. You're trying to
rescuing four
you're
different
trying
sort
to
of
get
treasures.
at
yeah.
artifacts. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Artifacts, and then get back to the helicopter pad and then leave before the island collapses around you. So it's a great cooperative game. Forbidden Island from Game Right. That's my number 9.
Cool.
Also comes in a tin, protecting it from the elements.
Yeah, absolutely. I love.
Oh, you know, you were asking earlier about the criteria. Another one was that the games weren't so big.
Yeah.
There's a couple of mine that are bigger than I would probably prefer, like for a backpack. I'm assuming you're driving and camping.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I didn't pick giant games.
Yeah.
Every single one of these can fit in a backpack, and multiple of them can fit in a backpack also.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I'm there with you for the most part. All right, my number 9 is also a tile laying game, or that one's sort of not a tile laying, but a tile game.
Mm-hmm.
This is King Domino. King Domino. I picked King Domino specifically over Queen Domino again for the very same reason that Sam said.
Fewer components.
Said island instead of desert. Fewer components.
Yeah, sure.
Fewer things to sort of shuffle around. Little wooden dudes to get lost. This is tiles. And they are thick enough and sort of high quality enough. You're not going to worry about them getting too dinged up or flying away with a breeze or anything. It's a very simple game. You're going to need a fairly small area on which to play per player, so you don't even have to worry too much about a particularly even surface or anything like that. This one works. It's quick. You can play a few times throughout the night if you are mixing it up at the campfire or anything like that. It's one that's not going to be an investment also. And I think that's a big part of also just sort of camping is you want to maybe sample a little gaming. You don't want to make a whole night of gaming because you can just go back and do that on a gaming table. So, King Domino seemed like a good pick for me. That's my number 9.
I'm not a huge fan of King Domino, and I still almost picked it for the list because it just made sense.
It works for this one.
Yeah. All right, my number 9 is one of my party games on the list. I don't think I have too many, but Spyfall. I think Spyfall works real well because you are literally you have one deck of cards. You shuffle it and hand one out to everybody. That's it.
Yeah.
So everyone has a card, and they're sitting around trying to figure out what location you're at, except you're at a campfire. And I think the laughter this one brings and asking questions, especially if there is a campfire. You know, this seems like a really good one to play around a campfire.
Yeah.
To ask those questions back and forth. You don't really need anything else. And there's a timer, I guess, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems
I've
like
actually done that activity. I wasn't camping. I was in a friend's backyard, but we had a fire going,
And you played Spyfall?
and we played Spyfall.
Proof in the proof.
It's called validation, dude.
That's the word I was looking for.
Is in the
Pudding.
salmon. It's in the pudding. That's it.
I think we should take him out for salmon for lunch.
Please.
No, not happening.
Ooh, denied.
Hungry.
Number 8.
My number 8 is a game that I actually enjoy myself playing with just 2, but you probably want to divvy it up and play with 4 if you're playing around a campfire. This is Sonar. Not Captain Sonar, mind you, Sonar, the one that followed up the original, which I like better than the original, actually. And you are going to be playing on sturdy sort of cardboard, the tiles, massive boards. You're going to have a transparency over that, or one of the 2 players in your team would. Other than that, it's a dry
Don't you need
erase marker.
shields?
You don't if you sit far apart from each other.
Ah, okay.
Only if you're sitting around a table do you need shields, you know what I mean? So I think this is the kind of game that you could play sitting on chairs, lounging around a campfire, doing your own thing, as long as you're sitting next to the person accompanying you, so that, again, you don't have to run 2 boards. That would be unwieldy. But with 4 people, easy peasy. You don't have to do anything except hold a dry erase marker on your board and have at it. It's one that, much like Spyfall, it has no necessity for a central sort of apparatus, central meeting place.
To me, Captain Sonar is so good, I wouldn't want to play a lesser version of it.
I like Sonar actually better, and it's not real time, but it is much cleaner. It has a much more streamlined feel to it. Fewer rules, less fiddly. To me, it's the Captain Sonar version that I appreciate and sort of get into the most. So that is my pick. My number 8, Sonar.
My number 8, you can get 1 or 2 games, although one is more readily available than the other. That'd be either Insider or Werewords. I think Insider is hard to get. They're pretty close to the same game. It's 20 questions. The only problem with the 20 questions with Werewords, it's like perfect except the chips, like giving who's wrong and who's right. Around a table would work better. Insider probably would work better just sitting around a table.
That's the only reason I didn't put it on my list is the chips.
Yeah, but I think you could variant.
Everybody should have a hat. Bring a hat and you throw the chip in the hat.
Give me your chits.
You know, that would work. But
But I like the idea. It mixes 20 questions with the fact
Yes.
that someone is a traitor.
yes.
And I just played this one several times, a few at Gen Con actually. Man,
Okay.
Werewords, it's such a good game. Because there's always that who's lying here. Someone is lying.
It almost made my list, like I said, but I picked something else.
All right, Insider or Werewords?
So my number 8 is a game that, like Z, I play with. I like to play with just 2 players, but you can play up to 4. And it's Star Realms or Hero Realms. Now you do need a flat surface, picnic table. But the way I was envisioning it is you could sit down in a tent and play just on the bottom of the tent. You don't have to have a flat surface. You just have to have a surface to lay your cards out on.
I played mine at the edge of a cliff.
Yeah, sure. Now, this one, of course, is going to suffer from a little bit of that wind thing. So if you're in a windy area, it probably wouldn't be the best idea because you do have a lot of single
Yeah, but the
cards
super
laying out there.
compactness of it.
But super compact, you can play it inside your tent, so that wind is going to be negated that way as well. So I think it's a valid choice, and it's a really good game and really quick game as well. So Star Realms, Hero Realms, and both of them are equal at this point because the command decks
What about
have
the new
come out.
box? How about Star Realms?
And that's probably not the time to bring Star Realms, is when you want to bring everything. Let's play a campaign. No, that's not. That's not going to work.
Stay home.
Yeah, exactly.
No camping this weekend.
Well, that's what I want to do in the first place.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my number 8, Star Realms or Hero Realms. Just pick your flavor.
Number 7.
My number 7 is one of the few games I picked that has cards. But you can, with enough players around the table, never put a card down, really. This is an escape room style game called Deckscape. It's the smallest by far of all of the escape room activities, if you would. It's just a deck of cards. You're looking at, I don't know, 50 or 60 cards.
Yeah, something like
You
that.
will, pick whichever one you want. There's 3 now, but for example, the first one, you are going to, upon reading the first 2 or 3 cards, then take the rest of the deck and break it up into 4 different piles, color-coded each. You can hand those to the players, and you can just hold the entire thing. You need to do nothing except look at the back of that card, figure out a puzzle, work together with everyone to figure out how to advance, and then look at the other side of that card, see if you did it or not. You can then bury that card, continue going. It's a very simple, again, I can picture this being done at a camping setting almost as an activity, almost as a sort of team building exercise, or just something to do with very little formal arrangement. You can even ignore the time pressure part. Just do it for the fun of puzzles, So this one would really go over well, I think, in that kind of setting. That is Deckscape, my number 7.
All right, my number 7 is a game that I've touted for a very long time because it fits well in a lot of different situations. It has very few components, just a couple of decks of cards.
Twilight
Show.
Struggle.
No, not at all. It does have a few cardboard chits for money, but they don't fly around that much. For sale. This is a great game to play in a lot of different situations, and I think it will work great. You might need a surface to play things on. You actually do, because you're auctioning off the different cards and stuff like that, the different houses. And then you're also selling those houses with things. So you would need a picnic table or floor of
Yeah,
your
but I
tent.
assume a lot of
Either
these
way,
things you have
yeah,
that, right?
you can do that. A lot of places. Maybe not him. He actually goes out into the wild. He has to use a machete to get to his camping site.
That's right.
Yes. Anyway, I think For Sale would work great in a camping setting.
I actually had that on my short list for sale, and the only reason I cut it was because I just was trying to pick games that were slightly more modern, just to have some different games, that's all.
That's right.
But I think it's a good one.
Classic.
My number 7 is one of the largest games on my list, but I picked it because of the pieces I think won't fly around, and that's New York Slice. The game itself is not that complex. You build a little pizza there. They're tiles that are shaped like pizza
Here come
slices.
the bears again.
And then you split them. Well, I don't think you're like
Only if
shouting.
they like scratch and sniff.
It'd be hilarious.
Oh, pepperoni. Don't scratch them, kids. Here comes Yogi.
They're playing a game where a kid accidentally
boo-boo.
scratches
Hey,
it.
boo-boo.
This is a new movie called Smell. You know,
Did
where
you bring the picnic
they're in a world where
basket?
aliens come because they can smell things, and the scratch and sniff is dangerous.
Got it.
Okay, that's like a really inside thing. Okay, but anyhow, you put the tiles down, you split up the pizza, and then you count up your points at the end. Even the other bonus thing, everything in this game is tiles.
It's a big, thick. Yeah, it's hefty. You
So
don't have to
the
worry about
boxes are
anything.
maybe a little bit larger than the clipboard here, a little wider. So it's a little bulkier, I guess, but you don't even need that. You could just put it all in a bag.
About the size of a medium pizza box, I think.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm saying you take all those tiles out, just put them in a bag and stick it in your backpack.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need the box.
Sure.
Of course,
Yes.
you could do that with a lot of games, too.
Right.
Anyway,
All the games.
can you imagine? I brought
Only-
Twilight
the only
Imperium.
game you don't
Here
have
it
to do
is.
that with is a game that uses
It would
the
fit in a
box.
backpack, and you know it.
I mean, if
Sure.
you dump it in, but it would
Yeah.
take as long to set up as you would to play almost.
No.
That's a weekend.
However,
of
you can
Twilight.
defend your camp by putting war suns all
That's
around.
right.
The bears come up.
And that's why Zendo made my list.
Actually, it was on my short list also.
yeah,
Let's keep
mine
moving.
too.
Number 6.
All right, my number 6 is probably, component-wise, it's probably the heaviest component-heavy game. And even then, it still doesn't have a whole lot of components in it. It is a two-player game, and it is the only purely two-player game that's on my list. And it's because I enjoy it that
Star
much.
Realms is 2-player.
No, it's not. It can be played up to 4 players. This one cannot be played with 4 players.
All right.
Onitama. This one is...
four.
That's a pretty light game, dude. I mean,
No, it is.
That box, you can.
No, it is, but it just has a lot of components in it. I mean,
okay.
you each have, what is it, 5 pieces, then you have the whole deck of cards, then you also have the board. So
Sure.
it has the most components out of everything. In the maybe Forbidden Island might have a comparable number, but it's a great two-player game. This is a game where you can play it multiple times in one sitting. And it feels different every time because you have different moves to utilize during the course of your turns. It's a game where if your opponent beats you, you literally gave them the tools to beat you. So I think it's a great back and forth two-player game. Very light, but still has a lot of good thought processes in it as well. My number 6, Onitama.
All right, my number 6 is a single deck of cards, but can be played multiple ways, and that's Fast Forward Fear. That's my favorite of the Fast Forward bunch so far. I like it. It's a single deck of cards. It's kind of like, that's the Uno. It's kind of like a multiplayer blackjack one where you're all playing cards in the middle, and if someone makes it go over a certain number, that person loses.
I don't think.
And then everyone else reveals their hand, and whoever has the highest numbers in their hand. It's pretty simple.
What are the other
play a
ones?
card. There's Fast Forward Fortress. I think you played that one.
That's the one I played. Okay, never mind.
And then there's Fast Forward Flee, which I
yeah.
really like that one. But
Crazy.
Fear works really well. I just took it to a church game night and gave it to some people who don't play games hardly at all. I said, okay, here we go. I started teaching. I taught the very basic rules, said more rules will come up. And they played for like an hour and a half straight. Just kept playing, going through it. So I think that is also a benefit. You're with some people. That's another thing I considered. You might not be with gamers on this camping trip, too, so this would work well.
I don't even get to pick the people I go with? Oh, man.
Well, until we do our Dice Tower annual camping trip.
That ain't going to happen.
Why not? We're doing Dice Tower Retreat. Next
In the woods!
is Dice Tower,
Camp.
Camp? Yeah.
Wait,
What's the name of the camp from the scary movie camp? You know what I'm talking about? The movie,
Camp Wana.
slasher
We hold you
movie
in our
with-
hearts.
Friday the 13th?
Yeah, what's the camp
I
called?
don't know.
No one knows. Who cares?
I'm gonna
Move
look
on.
it up and call it that. Is it me with my 6?
Yes.
Yeah.
My number 6 is probably the biggest game I've got on the list. It's the one with the most components. But there are no cards. It's tiles and thick cardboard. This is Azul. And Azul, again, you are going to need some place to dump all this stuff out, but it doesn't need to be even. If everyone holds their boards especially, it's very easy to do. The only thing you might want to adjust is you might want to jot down your score as you play because you're putting just a little cube on a score track. If that gets jostled a little bit, you might have a hard time remembering. Other than that, thick tiles, they're not going anywhere. And it's just sort of shoving things around and then putting them on your board. Very clean, very simple to manage, and one that's a proven hit at this point. One that you're gonna get people to
There's not
gather
even a reason
around.
for you to mention, as everyone already owns it who's watching this video.
That's true. That's true. So I think Azul would work, especially like I said, if the elements are sort of your main concerns. That would go over well. That's my number 6, Azul.
Number 5.
Okay, my number 5.
Camp Crystal Lake.
I got it! But there's already. You're watching this. Some of you have already typed it
By
in
the
the
time I
comments.
said it, had you typed it?
Yeah, that's right.
Be honest.
Did you already enter it in? Okay, anyway. My number 5 is
movie is
our
too
first
popular.
crossover, and it's with Sam, and it's one he just said, and that's Onitama. Again, for the same reason, plastic pieces.
In your face, sucker!
Just you're literally playing the game with 5 cards
But what
and,
if
and
they're
10 pieces.
big old floppy cards? Why do they fly away?
Again,
You can tuck them under the board, actually. I usually do that anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. You're right.
Anyway, I'm not putting no card games on my list. I'm trying to give a thing. This is the small one that you bring. You're going camping with one other person. You can play Onitama like 30 times.
Yeah,
And I just
absolutely.
Anyway, and the pieces won't move too much. So Onitama, my number 5,
Okay, I like it. My number 5 is
Crystal Lake.
Camp Crystal Lake. No, my number 5 is absolutely one of those you can play just about anywhere. It can be as windy as you want it to be. Doesn't really matter. Party game. This is Tapple. Tapple is a big plastic wheel
Really?
with keys around it. Look like piano keys. That's all you need.
You don't think it might get broken in the back? The problem with this one is
Yeah,
it
baby,
doesn't
break
have a
it.
box.
It comes in a box. Yeah.
No, there is no box for it, really.
Well, I know it's like a crummy cardboard box.
Right, so you have to bring just that piece.
Well, you can bring it in the box, but the box is not very good. You're right.
No one keeps that
Just
box.
tape that box up or something. Who cares? But anyway, the gadget itself you can just sit around slapping those things, passing it around. I mean, this works very well at a camp setting.
that's true.
Especially high energy, party-esque stuff. Easy to bring this one along. Now, technically, there are cards on the bottom of this device that give you the topic or whatever, but you can just make those up or use them and shove them back in that storage space underneath the unit. So, this is one that
That's
very
true.
quickly came to mind for me. It's very obvious. Tapple, my number 5.
My number 5 has those Bakelite thingies in them. What do you call them? Bakelite tiles.
Yeah, whatever they are.
Bakelite tiles, and you can play this up to 4 players. It is an abstract strategy game. You do need a surface to play it on.
Oh boy.
Kodinka.
Oh, okay.
Kodinka, and it's very compact. You can fit this along with many other games actually in a backpack. You've got a lot of room. It comes in a box that's about this big. So very good. It has a lot of neat strategy. You can play a game very quickly. It doesn't take a lot of time. So I think it's good in that respect. Like we were saying earlier, you don't want to spend the entire time playing a game. You just want to dabble in it a little bit and get back to your regular camping activities. This fits that bill. My number 5, no, Kodinka.
This is why Z doesn't want to camp. He's had an experience.
Right? He's had an experience of some kind.
Number 4.
All right, I have another crossover. My number 4 this time it's with Mr. Garcia.
Yeah,
Oh.
baby.
And it's one he just mentioned, and since we're on the backlight tile kick, it's Azul.
Oh, really? Okay.
You guys, sheep,
No, but I mean,
It was you first.
sheep.
I actually thought you were going to say Dragon Castle, which I think is
Oh,
a
it's
bad idea.
Way too many times.
Yeah, that's
It's
way
super
too much.
heavy.
And there's
Why
like
was I
fiddly. That
first?
would be fiddly anyway.
I didn't say this.
No, when you said your Kodinka, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Azul for everything Z said, it's just basically put those tiles out there.
It doesn't
and
matter, right? You
you're
can play on like
grabbing
on the dirt floor. You could play
I thought
this
we were
thing.
trying to bring fun games though.
Woo!
Azul is fun.
It's
You bringing Kodinka, your tent is going to be empty.
There is no board game, only Azul.
well, we're not there quite yet, but it's getting there. If you bring Azul in Gloomhaven, you got everybody, right?
No.
Yeah, you do is you bring Azul and you bring Seventh Continent and you use the tiles to hold down the stacks of cards. Think
on.
about it.
Give me a pen. I'll get it.
Think about it.
Azul works really well. Also, it's portable, so I like it.
I agree. All right, my number 4, yes?
Nope, Sam.
Oh, go.
My number 4
I hope it has a big light piece.
has a lot of cards in them. However, you deal the cards out. The people choose only 2 of them, and then you have only that stack to go with. So it's a very small stack, and that stack doesn't actually get put on a table. It actually gets held in somebody's hand throughout the most of the game anyway. So Time's Up Title Recall is a great game for having around.
It's not 2 cards, by the way. It's
3 what?
you throw out. You deal out 40 plus the number of players.
I used to play
Quiet
this.
nerd.
I used to play this in my classroom with my students, and that's how we always did it.
Well, that's because you had like 16 students.
Well, yeah, we always just dealt out 2 cards, so that's why. But anyway, it's a great game for this kind of setting. It's very social, I guess you could say,
Yes.
and it's very face to face. There's not a lot of thinking to yourself. You have to be very open and
No time to, ponder about killing other people. Like, you don't have any time to.
So he went from smelling salmon, and now we're on a murder kick?
I am
guess
getting
he's
very hungry.
Hangry is the word. So my number 4, Time's Up, Title Recall.
All right, my number 4 is a game Sam loves because he loves to whisper in people's ears or have them whisper in his. This is Witness.
No!
I had to check it.
Bad call.
I had to check the box to make sure that there was nothing in there except those books.
You need to write down stuff on paper.
No, you don't.
100%. You will lose if you don't.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Buttercup?
Hey, man, I have an accent. Bite me.
You're under arrest. I'm the buttercup.
That's not an accent.
Is that margarine?
I misspoke.
Okay.
That isn't butter. I believe it.
I can't believe it's not butter. Here's my badge. Yes, Buttercup is what I meant to say. It's just booklets. Yeah, you have stuff to write down at the end for the scoring, but it is just booklets. Everybody gets one. You have one with the questions, one with the answers.
No, I like the game. I have the game, but it's exactly 4 players.
So you guys have picked exactly 2-player games. Bite me, Buttercup.
You did it again.
Time on purpose.
I feel like, no. And lighting is an issue too. Like you need to be like, look at these books.
That's true for every game.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I don't know.
What's it feel like to fail so miserably? To have come so close.
I'm just not sold on this one.
I like it. All right. Anyway, I'm picking.
I didn't like the game.
It's I'll admit that it's an off-the-wall kind of pick. If you want something really strange,
Also, have fun
to bring.
getting it, but yes,
It's hard to get.
it's out of print, I think.
I don't know. Anyway, Witness is my number 4.
That's your shtick.
Witness me.
Number 3.
All right, my number 3 is a crossover with Thomas. We mentioned it a while ago.
I'm gonna go with
Just came out with a
Spyfall.
DC version of it at Gen Con, Spyfall.
Cheap.
This is one of the games that immediately came to mind when we started talking about this because you literally only have one card in your hand.
Yes.
I guess you could also say Werewolf, and I'm sure that's probably going to come up on somebody's list later on.
What are you trying to say, bro?
But this is, I think, better than Spyfall because better than Werewolf because you really can't get eliminated from the game. I mean, you get caught as the spy, and then everybody starts a new game at a new location. So that's why I picked Spyfall. My number 3.
What about you?
My number 3 is Werewolf.
Is it?
Yeah.
That was called a preemptive strike.
I was going to pick Werewolves, but again, all the tokens that have to fly around is going to get a little unwieldy, and Werewolf, you can go here with one knight, whatever. I mean, that one's got a couple of tiles.
You
But
need an app too for that one.
yeah, which is, again, fine. But I did put Werewolf on the list because you need very little. Everybody has a card, or depending on what version you have, it could be a token.
The
it could be a
coins,
coin,
yeah. Someone should make a poker chip version.
Yeah, so there must be that, right? But
Probably.
anyway, that's it. So, and then you play. It's a social game. I think the vibe is going to help the game out, actually, which is also why I felt like picking this one as opposed to any other social deduction game, because I think the campfire setting will enhance the mood in this case. And there might even be some murders. So, yep. My number 3.
People say I'm the violent
I'm
one.
never camping with Z.
I bet you nobody's going to say anything about you and your violent speech today, sir.
I'm not being violent.
All right, my number 3
Werewolf.
is, I doubt you guys have this on your list at all, actually, but it's another one that slightly bigger, but I think it provides its own playing surface, and that's Ice Cool.
Oh my goodness, what a horrible pick.
No, because it's not, I mean, a box like this big, right? But if you bring it, you set it up, it gets real big. You can put it on the ground, you can play it anywhere, you can play it on a table, you can play it in a tent, and you're just flicking things. You don't have to carry this big, it's like having a big crokinole board or something, but it all fits in a box. It's also very light, like really light to carry around. And you can put a bunch of other games inside it if you want. No, I'm serious.
That's what did it. That's what pushed me over.
Where are the straws? I want to grasp for
I was
them.
very much in the no camp. But now that he says you can put other things inside,
It can be your game carrier.
No, I don't care. I think this one works because, again, I'm not picking these. I'm like, if I was going camping, I would seriously consider bringing Ice Cool for that reason. I know I could set it up somewhere in the camp and people could play it. You just have to hook the boxes together. It's really easy.
And that's why that's the problem, though.
but if
you
the
don't,
surface is uneven.
you don't have a flat surface, those
cares?
boxes don't stay together well.
Sure, but if we had the no flat surface thing, now several games could not be played well. If there's a picnic table, you can put
Pick
it on.
one. They're all good to go, baby.
Yeah, all of these are okay. You can play all of these on the ground.
I intended for these to all be played while avoiding lava moving in.
What?
We just keep
Your
shifting.
camp-
We just
your
keep
camp got
shifting the group.
worse.
I know,
I'm not
right?
going to this camp.
Hey, man.
Camp apparently didn't
gotta
have
get
any
your gaming
food.
on.
Didn't have any food at the beginning of the list.
Oh, touch
And
it
then
The lava
then,
flow is close. It's time to move.
a stabber came in and a murderer came in and
Slasher,
just terrorizing people.
Marcia
and now
was
you got a
murdered last
volcano
night?
that's erupting
Yeah.
right next to your camp.
Game apocalypse.
I ain't going to your game
2019.
camp ever.
Join us for the last game you'll ever want to play.
Let's move on.
Number 2.
All right, my number 2 is the one that, or one of the ones that very immediately came to mind because, again, when I first heard the theme, the main idea I gravitated to was elements, the elements. Wind, rain, whatever. And it's Hive. Hive is just big old chunky tiles. These things, you can play them in lava probably, and they'll survive for a few minutes at least.
And you?
No, you won't. But they are just large bake-like pieces. It does not matter what kind of surface you're playing on, as long as it's largely flat. You don't have to worry about them getting wet, and they are very portable. Also, you can just throw them in a bag. In fact, the game's packaging is a bag. It's just sort of a zipped-up bag.
Certain versions of it.
I think all of them. They all come in a box, but there is a bag in it. I think all of them do that because I just have the bag now. Anyway, yeah, Hive. 2-player game, abstract game. Just a really simple, obvious choice. That's my number 2.
Yeah, this crossed my radar, but I don't like it, so I didn't consider it.
Oh, you don't? I thought you did.
No, I don't like Hive. I don't know why.
He's not good at it.
That might
Are
be
you
why.
not good at it?
No, but I don't think that's why. I just didn't like it. All right, my number 2
Happy salmon kind of player.
has already been mentioned by somebody.
Me?
It was you. I really like the escape room genre, and the only one that makes sense to bring on a camping trick is that escape.
You picked that?
I did.
Yay, buddy! I will spare you.
But I like the whole escape room thing, but the exit rooms, which are my favorite, require paper and pencil cutting.
scissors
no.
and stuff? No.
Yeah, it was Z. No scissors are coming to camp. So, and the
geez.
unlock ones require you to really look closely at stuff, and they also require
That's a lighting problem. If we're talking
sure.
about lighting.
So Deckscape is the easiest one.
Yeah.
It's just one deck of cards. You look at it, and you're all talking together. It's also really easy to pause Deckscape, I think.
Yep.
You can just be like, all right, this is where we're at, and we'll come back later.
Yep.
So, yeah, I love escape room games. This is the only one, though, that would work, I think, on a camping trip.
Nice. I'm glad you picked it. Validation.
All right, my number 2 and really my number 1 are, I think, perfect for a campfire or a camp-style setting because they have the fewest components out of all, and
To stick.
the
Kindling. I was thinking in my head.
the setting of a camp or around a campfire, like you were talking about with
Really?
Werewolf,
Okay.
really lends itself to it. The first one, my number 2, is Legacy of Dragonholt. And the reason
Oh,
I
wow,
say
that's an
that is
interesting one.
because you can sit around, you are essentially reading a story, and you're taking turns doing it, and you're making choices throughout the course of the game, and you're literally reading a novel together, but it's an activity setting. It's almost like an RPG without the pencils and the papers and all the dice and all that other kind of stuff.
There's a little bit of pencil paper stuff.
There's a
in
lot
it.
of cards, though, right?
Not a lot.
No,
There's a few.
It's a book, and there's only a few cards. It's mainly in a book, though. So you just pass that book around, don't drop it in the fire, and you have a great time, a thematic time of sitting around and reading this Dungeons and Dragons-esque story. I think it's a great pick, and it would be a great time. It's definitely one I would try to take.
That's interesting. I think that those over lengthy verbose readings, I might around the campfire would not bother me as much.
Right. Okay. I like it. It's a good pick.
Number 1 is Dungeons and Dragons.
And finally, number 1.
Here we go.
Oh, Great Cthulhu, Great Lake, Hanchi Panchi. What was it called? The
Nine.
lake?
Crystal Lake?
Crystal Lake.
Lake.
You forgot already?
Ah,
Cthulhu was not
death
in
to
there.
every. Oh, that was almost a 19.
Yeah, well, you're still winning.
Ah!
What
Okay,
was it?
11. I would have beat you, man.
17 is yours. What's the order?
I will go last. And let's go this, and his.
All right, Z, you're first. I don't know what Z's is.
Fine. It's the roll and write, which I have not yet put one on the list.
You know, I was thinking about roll and rights. Like some people, their whole 10 would be roll and rights.
For sure. It's easy to do one, too. I just did a top 10 roll and write, by the way. Plug. This is on that list, but it's the one that has the sturdiest kind of
I'm
components.
trying to think which roll and write is the.
Not a new one. It's an
Can't
old
be-
roll and write, but it's very sturdy.
See, I didn't watch your list because I have standards. But
Right, sure. Get it.
through the ages, it had too many pieces. Yahtzee is too simplistic.
Here's some water. You can apply it to the affected area.
Don't do that. Say what's wrong with you.
Come on
It's from Marcus and Inca brand.
Which one did they do?
They did several, actually, but
I don't know.
St. Malo.
Oh.
That's the one with the
The
drawing
Alea
thing?
one. The Alea one, yes.
Don't you have to see what other people are putting on their boards?
Not really.
No, not with any roll right. I guess you could just play by yourself.
It's a board. It's thick. It's not quite this thick, but it's pretty thick. You have a dry erase marker and dice. That's it. There's also a central board, but again, it's so sturdy you can throw it anywhere.
This is your number one. Wow.
This is my number one because you can play with not just two players like Hive, and it's also got a lot more game in it. It's variable, but it is incredibly easy to take along. And if you're looking to save space also, this game has very few components in it. You put this in a manila envelope. I mean, this is very small, really, when you take them out of the box. So yeah, this is my number one. A roll and write just seemed like an obvious pick, and like you said, people will pick roll
I
and
thought
writes.
about roll and write
And-
games. I couldn't find one that I really wanted to put on.
I
like
almost
'em.
put Ganshan Clever, the new hotness, on the list, but for that pick, I could pick any of them.
Yeah.
This one works for me because of the small amount of components and the sturdiness of said components.
All right.
So that's my number one, Saint Malo.
My number one was like I have 2 through 10, and then 1 is the number one, like by a mile.
What is this? What could this be?
It was already mentioned.
Werewolf?
Not by Sam.
I mean,
Yeah, it's werewolf.
Okay.
I mean, to me, that's. Look, you are like alone on this, or not alone, but very few
No,
people.
I am not alone.
But I'm telling you, werewolf
so-
in an outside setting is amazing.
We crossed on 2 then, Tom. Werewolf and Dexcape.
Until you get eliminated in
Correct.
the
And
first
Azul.
round, and then you
Oh,
can
and Azul.
sit and watch everybody else have fun. for
Yeah,
the
but
rest of the
okay,
time.
that would
You're
work
a
a lot better. But
campfire,
you
though.
just said the Dragon Hulk game where you basically sit and listen to people read for 90% of the game. And
No,
I'm
but
trying
you're
that.
still engaged.
No,
and
but
I'm
in that
engaged when I'm
game-
out of a werewolf game.
Yeah, in that game,
I
you
don't
know
know.
you're eliminated in Dragon Hold. Like, it's prescribed elimination for a few minutes at a time.
No, it's not.
Okay, okay.
I said prescribed
You are-
elimination. I feel pretty good about
No.
myself
I feel
right
like
now.
you made a new term. People be using that.
I better see that listed as a mechanism today.
No, but
Attribute it to me.
yeah, sure. I know you got to get eliminated werewolf, but to me, once you're eliminated, it is extremely fun to watch the game
You can like
continue.
go out and start making noises in the woods and stuff, mess with people. Dude, if you're gonna mess with anyone after
You
you
get
get
stabbed
eliminated,
by the
it's there.
person that haunts your plays. Your
No, Z
camp?
plays real werewolf elimination. The people wake up and someone's gone.
Yes.
I give everyone a pill
Z's
after each night.
He is sitting there. There's like he's like, I don't know where they went.
No, but it's an obvious pick, like you said.
I think so.
Yeah.
And also, it's the easiest one component-wise.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a version with coins, although not as good as I thought because when it's darkish, they're really hard to see.
Yeah,
That's why I'm wanting the poker chip one.
that's a good idea. I'm surprised
It's
I
probably been
haven't
done by
seen that. It
someone.
must have been done. Good pick. What do you got?
Now,
My
you
number
said
one-
Dragon Ball, what's your 2? And you said your number 1 is similar-ish?
Yes.
I mean, is it that the only thing I can think of is that Choose Your Own Adventure game?
Nah, is it?
Choose Your Own Adventure, House of Danger. That is correct.
Really?
Yeah.
But that
I
was
like
a pile
that.
of cards.
It is that you can hold or you can have somebody hold. It doesn't. You don't have to worry about wind with this one, I don't think at all, because you don't go through the entire deck all the time. There aren't laying out
it is
in a
flipping stuff
singular,
over.
in an individual way. You're holding them, and if you do have a single card, like it's some kind of thing that you found while you were reading, you can keep that in your hand. You don't have to put it on the floor or on the table or what have you. But yeah, Choose Your Own Adventure books. When I was when I was a kid on up into high school, really were really fun for me. And this brings back, of course, it's based upon a real Choose Your Own Adventure book.
Yes.
And hopefully they're going to have more of them out there, continuing on that same series. So I think it's a great way, again, around the campfire. You can really get into the theme a little bit, maybe a little bit less with this one because you're in a house. You're not actually in a campfire.
But
or
it's goofy.
outside.
It's sort of
Yeah.
Vi works. Yeah.
It's campy.
It's campy.
Anyway, that's my number 1. Choose Your Own Adventure, House of Danger.
Lots of people want to know what good games are to take camping, so this is your chance to write it in the comments below.
Yeah.
Let people know what you take camping for those of you who do such a horrific thing.
Cheers.
I don't get
Yeah,
to...
if you actually do it, then let us know.
Now,
yeah.
I get a lot of people like camping. For me, I don't understand the draw of it. I'd rather be in air conditioning, inside, no bugs, comfortable bed.
Harumph.
It just seems like that. Why would you not want any of those
Well,
things?
yeah, but then when you come back to those things, you appreciate them a little bit more.
I appreciate air conditioning
like-
every time I walk outside. I don't have to go
Saying,
camping.
I'm just saying, if someone
Alrighty.
spares your life
Yeah.
tomorrow, you'll be much gladder than.
Gladder.
What camp did you go to, man?
Gladder is a word, isn't it?
All right. Anyhow,
think
until
so.
next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I've
I
never used
don't
it.
speak English. And you're Sam Ely.
Z Garcia, Sam Ely. See you guys on the flip side.